All right, well, I have a little bit of a spread here for you. So, to start it off, we have the Ace of Swords at the bottom of the deck. That kind of talks about new ideas and clarity, truth, victory, maybe a stroke of genius. And, the next card is the Seven of Wands. So, the Seven of Wands is like a group of haters. And you'll notice that the Ace of Swords is kind of looking towards this group of haters, and the group of haters ain't looking at the Ace of Swords. So I think this represents some kind of like victory, clarity, moment of genius against this group of haters. And I think out of that comes the star. Somehow you're able to go alchemize that group of haters to go turn that into some bright light, that healing, maybe even some recognition for the work that had to be done to beat this group of haters. These guys just won't leave, right? It's 2026. It's not 2025 anymore. Leave, go away. You're done. And that's part of why we have this kind of like Five of Cups in reverse. We have this past trauma. We got some shadow work to do. You gotta let this stuff go. And it's these two things. She's not looking really at anything, but this star is kind of looking up at this girl. So I think that these two things are related, and your healing and your past trauma, which is all coming from this group of haters that you're either in the process of beating or interacting with or smiting somehow, it all goes together. And at the end of this, we get Ring Around the Fairies, which is just a call for peace, enjoyment, company, friendship, building back that sense of community. I got some Norse runes for you here. So the top one there is Uruz, which is wild ox or courage or strength. Which probably means that when you're fighting this group of haters, you're gonna need a healthy dose of that. We got Rado, which is journey or riding. And actually, in kind of the trinket section over here, we have this. This is from Alice in Wonderland, right? This is one of the bunnies that kind of starts it all off. So I feel like you have like a little bit of a call to adventure at the start of the year of the horse, or as we get into that. Underneath that, we have I don't know how to say this, Ihuaz, which is all about toughness and stability. It's kind of double-sided lightning bolt there. And under that, we have Fehu, which is wealth and money. Cattle. And cattle is sort of like a divine symbol of miracle, too. So it's not just wealth and money, but maybe something miraculous. Now, in terms of, this is from the Cries of the Soul's Oracle deck, and it's the fear of judgment and criticism, but it's in reverse. It says, I look upon myself benevolently and tolerantly. And that's in reverse. So, maybe that's some kind of blocker to this, is if you're fighting this band of haters and life is hard and you gotta battle them and fight them, you're worried about some kind of judgment for doing so, which could be like a legal judgment, but it also could just be that, you placing judgment on yourself or them. Just something to keep in mind as you go through this experience. And then I got all these trinkets. Now the gold ones to me sort of represent this higher calling. So you have a star within a star for the star. So there's something about this that seems almost fated or divine. That feather to me is, again, another symbol of the divine. And that butterfly there is some kind of symbol of, transformation. So you have like a divinely led transformation from this band of haters to some kind of stardom, some kind of healing. It could be actual stardom where people are like checking you out, but it might just be the like healing of the trauma, the peace that comes from after that. We got a couple of these here. You got a feather and a leaf, but they're the silver type, so they're a little bit more of the ordinary. You have this big heart. You got this turtle, and the turtle carries the world. So in some ways, I think that this is the world. So maybe this is an act of completion here. Like I said, you got the trumpeter that's telling you it's a call for adventure. So a little bit of the fool mixed in. I see this as like a baby toys. So maybe there's something to do with the infant here. And this turtle, or not turtle, this elephant has like a little heart in it. So that also kind of feels like it's drawn towards the Maybe it's an inner child, maybe it's an actual baby. You got some rackets, so that's telling me, hey, it's time to play. You got a couple beetles, and kind of the scarab beetle. Maybe there's something sacred that you're working on. The palm here talks about protection typically, so some protected activity as you're going about these divine quests. The sewing machine, which could mean actual sewing, but I think of that as sort of like your Eight of Pentacles, your work, you're putting that in. You got an anchor, so there's something slowing you down maybe, but it's also got that whole circle thing, so it gives me a little bit of the world or the Wheel of Fortune. Here's a cat, but that looks like a bit of a mystical cat, which is also next to an owl, which is kind of a mystical owl. So there's something that's out there, keys to consider, sort of sacred knowledge as part of this. Seems like you got a little angel that's by your side, so a guide might be helping you. And then I mentioned the star. I forgot to mention there's another star, a smaller star, and a starfish. So this all seems destined for stars of some sort. And there's a bear print and a whale. And the bear speaks to me of sort of like you're a slow-moving king. And I also see kind of like a crown in that, in the depiction of the bear paw. And then you also have the whale tail, and the whale to me is another kind of divine, slow, large animal that has kind of king-like properties. You got the spider's web. All of this seems to be coming together. That spider's kind of pulling it together. And then you have like an infinity symbol. It's mixed here with an Ouroboros to me. You know, it looks like a snake eating itself a little. It's a mask. But it's also reminiscent of the infinity symbol and the magician. So somehow this whole quest, this divine quest where God's here, stardom's there, this group of haters, and your sort of like imminent victory or clarity about the whole situation, as you try to figure out judgment, as you try to let go of that past trauma, as you try to heal, as you celebrate, ultimately as you try to balance out this independence like a cat. You know, it's this combination of working with others, but also self-discovery. So, which to me is part of that like alchemy journey. You know, maybe some of this leads to hermit mode for you as you sort of go in and explore that big heart for this stardom and whatever that entails. It seems to be divinely led with some mystical wisdom, with a little angel guiding you along. That's what I have for you this morning. Good luck out there.